in any way. This is why some life events seem to come out of left field. This has been the case in a much more condensed version through your COVID transition. Many changes on the unconscious level were set in motion to assist souls to catch up to their life's mission. This may or not be true for you, but it was part of the plan. In addition to these unconscious changes, there was and will continue to be a mass exodus of souls that no longer want to be part of this dimension. Some are still teetering on the question, should I stay or should I go? Again, this is not necessarily conscious and may not be understood with the mind or linear thinking. Like my parents, he was teetering on leaving, but that didn't happen. But he didn't know that. He didn't consciously know he was teetering on leaving until he got really sick and he thought, wait a minute, I don't know if I want to go yet. Then it became conscious when he was having the physical experience. There is also a faction of people that continue to live in a very mind construct of what is true, what is false, and what they are part of. This has continued to keep the strife alive in your world. Mm-hmm. You are seeing it play out with another human drama that has so much behind-the-scenes agenda, it will prove to be another man-made problem in order to achieve a very selfish goal. I'm thinking they're talking about this war thing. That was the impression, although they didn't say it. We hope that most of you have made your decisions and your ability to discern to keep you out of these agendas of others that continue to prove to keep you distracted and not using your creative powers to do anything of importance to your higher self. Mm-hmm. Your higher self, or I am presence, or soul energy, has been trying to get through to you more powerfully than ever before. We see the process happening so clearly, and yet we see so many who remain in the old energies, old ways, old beliefs, perhaps anything from the past that keeps them exactly where they are without any forward movement or soul evolution possible. That's my parents. I hope it's none of you, but only you can answer that question. Only you know where you are. Just let Salvatore share the story of what happened with his parents visiting. It was a clash of old versus new at an epic level, perhaps described best as the clash of the titans. Energetically, that is. So I did it a little out of order. I was going to read this sooner, but I'm glad I read it now because you see I covered everything we talked about. So with the last, how long do I go? I can go almost with you.
If you want to, or you can quit early.
Oh no, I am.
You'll never
I got
quit
plenty of
early.
I haven't done this in a long time, you don't know. I could stay here all afternoon. I could talk to my voice. You can calm me out. Okay, so now I want to move on to old versus new in my other part of life. Everybody knows me as the medium, and if, like I said, if you see how much I put out there, you see me as a medium online. What you don't see me as is the design guy, the remodel design guy. So again, this fits into old versus new because that's what all remodels are there to do. It's to destroy old energy. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. Mm-hmm. Everything you do on a house is to remove, destroy, disappear, make disappear old energies from the previous owners. If you just bought the house, it's very, very good to do some stuff when you first get a house, not necessarily a gut job, but something to change energy, like a full paint job, in and out, new appliances, new toilets, the basics, you know? Who needs their shit in your house, right? So, I'm going to tell you how the medium by design got started, and how funny this was not in my plan. Remember, the soul has a different agenda. My conscious mind and my little Sally, I got ideas. Half of them don't happen. It's just the way it is, because the soul has a whole different thing going on, right? So you might not know this, but I am a retired minister retired massage therapist. Were hats I used to wear. And there's, a couple of other things I've done too, right? I've had many hats this lifetime. So in 2012, and this coincides with the 2012 shift.
Yeah.
Anybody who's following Ascension knows 2012 was a really big year. Well, I didn't know that in 2012 because I wasn't studying Ascension back then. I didn't know. So in 2011, December 2012, I meet these two gay guys from Colorado at a Christmas party. One was originally from New York, the other one's a native Colorado. They're years apart in age, 12, 14 years apart. But the New York one was my age. So we're at a fire, it was winter, it was cold, and we're outside of the fire, and he starts talking with a New York accent, and then we hit it off, because we're East Coasters and we understand the language, right? And he's all gruff and negative and complaining, and I'm like, oh, this is family energy. Saying this, here comes the old, and because I'm comfortable with it, I stay there, right?
Yeah.
This reminds me of my ancestors. And he's going on complaining, oh, we're trying to buy a place here, and the realtor did this, and then they raised the price, and this was when realtors purposely started bidding wars, and they got people against each other, right? And it wasn't for a win-win, it was just to make more money, So, so they're in the middle of this, and I give him a message. I said, listen, you gotta dump that realtor, get out of that deal, you don't want that condo. In a few days, you'll have a new realtor, and he's gonna show you this condo. It's gonna be really cheap, and it's in a really good location. This condo is right by Camelback on Central Avenue.
Wow.
It's only 15 units,
Beautiful.
and it's walking distance to great restaurants, and it's convenient, and it has under the building parking, not garage, but it's, semi-covered. So I see him again at another party, and he's all, you're not gonna believe what happened. They don't know me. They don't know. I just said this, right? And it all came true. He's like, I can't believe it. We have this realtor, we got this place. It's amazing. And we saved, $80,000. And he's just all excited. Very demonstrative, by the way. So we don't want that, but that's how he is. So anyway, keep in mind, I had just done their house. No, I didn't do their house yet. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. I just meet them. They buy this place. It was in really rough shape, but it was really, really cheap. This is 2012. So they're coming into new energy. They're becoming snowbirds. They didn't plan this. They just would come here and rent. They didn't know all this. I mean, they had a desire. It started with their desire, but they didn't know what the outcome was going to be. So I have a friend. This is on one of my latest walking videos on YouTube. I had a very big-mouthed friend at the time who also knew them. He took me to the side and he said, you don't want to be friends with them, they're white trash. Again, opinionated, big mouth, I know a lot of them. And he's not Italian. So I immediately had a reaction like, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
I'll decide who's my friend and who's not my friend. But that negativity pushed me to go further with them. It didn't repel me. I said, I'm gonna find out who these guys really are. I have them over, I make stuffed peppers. 3 hours, we're sitting at my island in the kitchen, laughing hysterically. This is December or January, either January 2013 or still December. It's right in that winter period. They like me so much, they say, bring your RV, we've got lots of property, spend the summer with us in Colorado. And that changed my trajectory. So I drive out summer 2013. I'm sorry, it was December 2012, January 2013. I keep mixing that up because there's another piece of the story that goes back to 2011. So anyway, now we're in 2013. The transition energetic thing that everybody's talking about, 2012, is already in place. And I'm being in a new trajectory that I did not plan, right? This is not my plan. This is just, oh, well, I need a place to park in the summer. I'm going. Okay. I walk in their house. They inherited this house from the older one's mother. His parents were farmers. She sold 110 acres, but kept the house till she died, and then she gave the guys the house. So I walk in my blunt, honest way, walk in, I'm looking around, I go, oh, you don't live here. Now you can imagine what I saw. And they're like, no, we've been here a year and a half. I'm like, you live like this? I mean, that's how disturbed the house was. And I'm like, okay, here comes my mission for the summer in my face, right? So I didn't know that at that moment, but it was the older one's mother who directed me to meet them and get me there. So I said, you know, all right, I'm here all summer. I'll gift you with cleaning up the house. I'll get a little crew together here in Colorado, people I don't know, but I had to find some people. And we'll give the house a facelift on the inside. We'll get your mother's energy out, clear out the old, bring in the new, which is exactly what we did. We got it done in 2 weeks. Got them granite in the kitchen, some extra cabinetry, did work in the bathroom, finished the basement. It was an amazing feat, and it was very, very cheap, because they didn't want to spend a lot of money. And it came out adorable. Not like the work I do since, but for the first one, for what they needed, they were really impressed. And the older one came back, because I had the plans of the house up in the office, which their parents built this house. So it's very family ties, energy. And he saw that, he cried. I had pictures in the basement, family. I did it just like HGTV. Just like HGTV. And I'd never done this for somebody before. This is the first time. So they could not believe how hard I worked. So they agreed to give me some money, which was significant for me. It was a nice chunk of change. I was like, oh my God, maybe there's something going on here. So when we're in the living room, the mother starts screaming at me, you better take care of them. You better do right by them. And I'm like, who is this bitch? And he says, oh, that's my mother. He doesn't even know I'm a medium. And he didn't miss a beat either. He's like, oh, that's my mother. I said, she's a witch. I said, she's so mean. No, she's okay. Just, just deal with her. Okay. So anyway, I said to her, listen, I don't like to be yelled at. I will sit down and write everything you want to say. 5.5 pages. Wow. And then her husband was right behind her, so she moves aside. He comes up. He says, I don't talk as much as her. So he gave me 3 pages. So I read it to them, and it was so profound. Remember, they're rural farmers, right? These are 2 men. Their old energy doesn't know about this, right? Those messages were so loving. I can't read them without crying. That's how powerful these 2 souls were with their love for these guys. And the father said, he says, I can't believe I'm talking about this about two boys. But that's how he felt. He said, when we saw them together, we both knew this was meant to be. Love transcends everything. And that was proof in those writings. So that went so well, they asked me to marry them. Remember the hat I told you about earlier? I used to be a minister. And why did I become a minister? To marry gay people. In 1992, I became a minister. I probably told this. Did I tell this before?
No, I'm just saying good for you.
That was the only reason. This was 2013. It's 21 years later, I finally got a wedding. Don't tell me I'm not clear. I became a minister to marry gays. I didn't even get a straight marriage in 21 years. You see how long you have to wait for your shit to happen? To fruition? So let's just fast forward. I don't want to spend too much time. But it was beautiful, and I knew it was the perfect pilot for a TV show. I knew it was a special moment, and so did they. They felt it. So they came back here for the winter. They showed me the condo, which was another wreck. They gave it to me to do whatever I want.
Wow.
except the New Yorker got controlling, and we almost lost our friendship over it. Because he wanted to be involved and fix things too. But my remodels, the first remodel I told you about was very superficial, very simple. My remodels are gut jobs. We take out everything. We don't leave anything unturned. There is no old energy when we're done. And they are magnificent. All of them. They're all beautiful. And they're on house.com. There's all photos and stuff of that stuff. If you want to see beautiful pictures, it's just incredible. So anyway, and it all comes from my vision. I'm not a trained designer, right? So I get their condo. I'm gonna fly through this part. It comes out beautiful, open up walls, all this. A 76-year-old who lives in the same complex, she barges in, which I don't like, and then she hires me to do hers, because she loved the floor plan. I want exactly the same thing, different style. She got the same thing. From her, the Asian neighbor, you're gonna do my mother's house. Then I got her house, and that was a huge job, beautiful. Then from her, I got her childhood friend. So every year since 2013, except 1 year I didn't have any work at all, I got one design job. So here's where Spirit tried to intervene, and the ones that were open got it, and the ones that were old, shut, didn't. The 76-year-old is a Virgo. Virgo can have, I'm always right, and I know everything. Those are two of the low frequency Virgo things. They have a lot of brilliance, they're great problem solvers, they have a lot of high frequency, but just like every sign, there's a couple of low frequencies. So she declares she's going to live in the place with the renovation.
Oh, Lord.
Now, she's divided up, it's a two-story, those are two-story condos. The guys we did all at once because they went back to Colorado. But we could only do the first floor, which is the living area and a half bath, and she was gonna move up to the bedroom area. And I said, I'm gonna tell you now, not a good plan. Because the energy of a renovation goes right into your nervous system and throws you off. No, I'm gonna stay here. Okay, well, she wound up with high blood pressure in the emergency room. Not because she was upset, because the energy of the renovation affected her. And I know Jan knows this. She is the one in the room that knows this, because she went through the same thing, and I couldn't do anything for Jan. It was awful.
In my house.
At Heather's house. This is just last year.
I was in Bimini and she was going through drama.
It was so weird, like she planned this trip exactly when we did the demo, which is the worst. The beginning is really, really bad. And the rest was bad too, because we kept adding things, and we had the kitchen torn apart. The whole house wound up getting done. And I did find out we can use projector here. I could have showed you all pictures. So anyway, this is how the Medium by Design was born. Again, trying to show you, following the intuition, letting go of the agenda and the plan, and letting it happen. And I've helped all these people since 2013. Now, I can't do a lot. I don't work full time. I don't want to do 6 jobs at one time. My system can't do that. I'm not made like that. But I do devote a lot of energy and time and effort to the one that I get. You know, she knows that firsthand. Let's talk about Heather's. Let's talk about, she's another Virgo, so watch out.
In charge of it all.
So Heather, now I get to, and so is Jan, she's a Virgo too. So anyway, 2021, Heather calls, and just like the year before, I'm glad Karen's here, because Karen was the first and only COVID job in 2020. Karen called very innocently, and she said, and Karen's story is lovely, but I'm not gonna get into that story yet. She's on YouTube, and you can hear that on YouTube. So Karen calls, says, I don't know if you're working through COVID. My tongue was hanging out of my mouth. I'm like, can I do something? Please, you know. And we had an amazing experience. And her husband did die. This is, the Medium by Design only takes jobs, especially now that I've committed, with dead people. I don't want regular jobs. Otherwise, the medium is not the Medium by Design. It's the design. No, it's both. Because I didn't want to be civil anymore. I didn't want to just talk to spiritual people, and then design people don't want the spiritual, so I have to box that up and hide it. No, I'm not doing that anymore. So I have no problem saying no to somebody. I just want you to do my bathroom, and, well, let me see if there's any dead people. No, I don't want that. Okay, call somebody else. I'm not doing it. Remember what I said earlier. All these people are telling you to be authentic. And then it's the next person you talk to, no, put that in a box, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Remember the fist and the finger. That's what's ready to come out, but I get that, right? So anyway, then this 2021 had the calls, and again, I don't have any plans, I don't have any work, I'm not making any money. I'm like, we gotta do something, I gotta eat, you know? So, I walk through her house, and it starts out very confined, very simple. I just want to move this wall in the master bath and open this up. And I already see, she's talking, and I'm already getting where we're going, right? And it was beautiful. And then we walk out, and I think this was the same day. Then she's like, I can't stand the tile in the kitchen, and I want to get the carpet out of this room. Okay. And we really should paint the whole inside.
Take the popcorn ceiling.
And the popcorn ceiling, that was
Yeah.
that was really big on the top of the list. Okay. So I didn't have the contractor that day, I just wanted to hear everything that she said. And then the contractor came and we started, no, he didn't come right away. We waited because this job went from this confined little thing and it expanded like a flower blooming and got so wide and so big because I started to get samples of flooring trying to match 70s oak. Well, the flooring that matches 70s oak is as ugly as the 70s oak. It just doesn't go. It's just ugly and it's dated. And what is it? Old energy.
Which I love.
And she said to me at least 30 times, oh, but I love that. No, I love that. I love those cabinets. I love my plastic plexiglass ceiling. I love the dome ceiling. I love that. I love my 40-year-old toilets. I love them. Oh my God, if I heard it anymore, I could have punched her. It was constant up against the old, constant. And she didn't stop. And I'm like, oh, she might be one of my best friends, but she is not a good client. I'm sorry. She is not my favorite client. And this went on the whole summer. And then remember, we're under the COVID umbrella where businesses are screwed up.
Yeah.
People can't think straight. You don't have to have COVID to have mind problems. How many people's mind didn't work through COVID? And all these brain farts, and these poor people have to go to work. They're trying to show up for work and they can't function. And I gotta deal with them. So anyway, I finally hit the nail on the head with the floor. And I knew she was gonna like it. But I also knew it was gonna open up another can of worms. So I bring this gorgeous floor, and she's like, I think that's it. It's so beautiful. And she puts it down, I have that beautiful picture of you on the floor that, I think it was that day. And then we have to start working on paint colors. So we're doing this all together. We're running to showrooms. We're meeting wonderful people, by the way. We did meet some really fabulous people.
I was paying part of it by the hour, and I said, I'm not paying you when you start talking spiritual stuff. Because there are 45 minutes of chatting and stuff.
But that's, remember what I said earlier with the old versus new? Agenda, only focus on the agenda, narrow, errand experience. Well, she got to see me firsthand. That never happens. We get to know who the person is, we have a spiritual connection, spirit starts touching us, and it makes the whole thing so much more fun. It's not just about getting it done, which we had to learn anyway because it never got done under the time frame I wanted. The damn job took 4.5 months. We should have been done.
2 days ago with that carpet.
She had another relapse, I'm gonna call it a relapse,
Oh, that was
on something that was wrong with the house itself that we didn't know.
plumbing.
And a flood happened and ruined flooring and ruined carpet. Not a lot though, it was contained. And she handled it with the insurance and people. So it's done. But all along, she's fighting the old, and then all of a sudden, I don't know when that happened, she got into the new with both feet, and you couldn't stop her. She was throwing shit out, she was, furniture, give it away, get rid of it. She was a maniac. And I'm like, oh, somebody got to her. Now, remember the medium part. Karen's husband had died, So that was the star of the show with her, and Heather's husband had died. And so, and we all know that, it's over 4 years now. So he's giving me messages through the whole thing, and I'm writing, I always write them. I don't just get little quickies at the house. I sit down, Ed, what do you want to say? In the beginning, he read the energy of the house, and he said, you know, and he said, the energy here is very old, and it's not beneficial to anyone. She skipped that paragraph. She did not want to hear it because she was being fake positive, right? She's like, no, 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 my house is fabulous, my energy. And the ego defense is, oh no, everything's wonderful, right? And he's like, no, it's not. This energy's old.
And he doesn't like the wallpaper in the bedroom.
Oh, and then he made fun of this old wallpaper that she's had for, you know, whatever.
70s.
So it was so cool. It was difficult for me because she wasn't fully trusting the process. And I had to keep explaining, you know, you have to come around to trust. You got to let me lead and then follow your instinct. You know, let's get in sync. We have to try to get in sync here with all these, a lot of decisions when you do these jobs. And we did. The house is so stunning that when it was done and I filmed her in all the rooms, I said, I'm going to film you and you say whatever you want. Usually I walk through the rooms and do something, right? I didn't do anything. I just filmed her. And then we read Ed's last message, which was again about energy. And he said, I know you think this might be odd that I'm really into energy, but I learned so much about energy now. So he was teaching us through the messages. It was brilliant. It was beyond. It was just, I mean, when you say the cherry on the cake, you know, that kind of thing, the icing on the cake, this is how we ended this job. It was really a miracle. And it was a miracle through COVID.
Yeah.
Because of all the crappy energy. We even had a mistake made that I still can't clear up. And I can't tell you what it is because nobody would know.
You'll notice that.
But we know. The Virgo in us knows, oh, that's not right. But I'm still working on it. It's okay if it doesn't get repaired. It's not a repair. It's just a change. But, you know, just what I want you to leave here with is notice where you are being in the old energy. And do your best to ask, pause and ask, well, what does the new look like? You can't force yourself out of the old. Like Heather in the beginning, she was in the old for the first few weeks. She was staying steady in the old. But then something clicked in her, and she decided, that's old, it's gotta go. That's gotta go. That's gotta go. And I just watched. I think this is a miracle. She has committed to the new. That's how you want to do it. You want it to be an internal shift, and you see where you're being that way, and you go, oh, I'm done with that. I'm going over here. And you see it because you're dealing with old in all your clients, right?
Yeah, do past that. Yeah.
She's doing past lives. She's helping them discover maybe soul wisdom and maybe soul pain. And what does she have to do? She's got to guide them, take the wisdom of the old soul energy, but let's go where we're going. Let's get back to what we're here for now. And that's what this whole idea of this talk was to really take a look at ourselves, which all my talks do. I never leave you out of the equation. It's always about how can we improve, how can we evolve, and how can we stop lying to ourselves? You know, would it be amazing, would this be amazing if you know yourself so well and you could say, I'm not on the ascension path and it doesn't matter? Because not everybody is. If you could say that to yourself, just think of the burden that would be off your shoulders. I'm not doing that this lifetime. Okay, nobody cares. It's your life. It's your soul. But to lie to yourself, oh, I'm this and I'm that, that's just more ego mumbo jumbo. And the only way that I know is just like I did with the car, I throw everything away and wait for it to come back. Because I don't want my ego making these choices and me getting in the way. I don't want to be that guy. And to go further, the truth is I can't go off track too much because spirit just takes over. Like this back thing. I wouldn't have planned that. But they didn't want them to leave. Something had to happen to make them stay. But by the 9th day, remember, 9 days later, after the car was packed, he made a declaration, we're leaving today. And I was still in bed, I couldn't walk. And they left. So there was no way he was gonna stay one more minute. Now, you say, well, why would they do that? What's the big deal? Where are they going? Ego. He declared he's leaving. That's it. I'm going. I don't care what Spirit has to say. And there was another piece to that too. I kind of slipped out. So a month from now, I have my 59th birthday. So I'm going to have a celebration at my house that's going to have a gong crystal ball player that I did groups with in Fountain Hills last year. That's the only work I had last year with a few groups I did with her, and they were very small because we charged a lot because it was 2 of us and we had to split it all. And then Heather's job. That's all the work I had last year. And this year, nothing has manifested yet. So I haven't had a paid gig yet. So I'm gonna have this event at my house and celebrate my birthday. My birthday's 4/4. The event is on 4/2, it's a Saturday. And it's a paid event, but you get dinner on us. And it's going to be outside, so if you're uncomfortable, I don't think you're uncomfortable being inside, we're all here now. And I can fit a lot of people on this patio, but I'm going to, well, I don't have to say that. I have an idea of what I would like to, people I'd like to show up, but I'm not gonna make a guest list. I'm gonna leave it wide open and hope that you can make it. It's at my house on the patio, it's $44. You're getting 2 really great people plus dinner. I don't think you can beat that.
Would you like RSVP ahead of time
Yes.
for food? Okay.
I live near 19th Avenue and Northern Avenue. So here's the flyer. If you have a cell phone and you can take a photo, do that. If you really need the flyer, I've got 8 or 9 of them.
What time?
It's Saturday the 2nd at 3 to 7 p.m. So I don't have a lot. I gotta get them to all the tables.
I can take a picture first.
Okay. Yeah, just pass it around, take a photo.
Good idea.
Can I bring a guest?
Yes, you can bring a guest.
John.
I just would like everybody to RSVP so we know, because the Candy is gonna do a lot of this food. And she insisted on doing it. And, so, you know,
Yes.
she wants to gift us. Yes, I'm gonna email the flyer to my crowd. What else?
I don't have.
I'm gonna get my special cake that I had last year from the Italian bakery, New York West, over here. So I'd like to get the RSVPs to know how big the cake should be. I may have 2 cakes because that one is an Italian cake and maybe some people don't like it, which is what happened last year. Some people didn't like it and the piece got thrown away and I thought it was gold, going in the garbage. So I'll have some kind of regular birthday cake too. So, any questions about anything? Anybody want to share anything about what they noticed through COVID, what the revelation?
Of course. Well, quickly, one of the main things that I really embraced was waiting for the invitation. Okay. As we know, I have had impulse control issues, being my moon's in Gemini, I love to jump and share and everything. Okay, so one of the things that I really embraced was listening deeply. I have a couple